This kind of feels like that scene from Fast and Furious when they're trying to steal the fuel tankers. It may not look like that, but that's what it feels like, trying to position this thing just right. I'd like to see how well I got this. Come on. Please don't hit anything. I think it's going to hit the transmission. Don't hit anything. Come on, you got this. No! So close. Oh my goodness! I feel like a damn movie star. Do you see how well that went together? Oh, never mind. My heater hoses are wrapped around my steering box. Holy. We're gonna get this thing all bolted up and then see how well it looks. Get out of there, Dom! He's got a gun! Oh, I guess I gotta go drive. Yeah! Feels just like Fast and Furious. Well, we got the motor in yesterday. I didn't really film it. I should have taken a little bit more time, just because I kind of rushed it, but I needed the Cushman because I built the fence yesterday. But all we did was just put the motor in and do up the subframe bolts. That's all we did. We didn't really do anything else other than that. So there's still a lot of work to do to this motor. I just needed the cart back. So we can do our brakes. So this one right here is our passenger side. This one right here is our driver's side. So we're going to hook them up. We can take everything off the front of this engine, like the transmission lines, the shifter bracket, because we're going to put an aftermarket shifter on it. We can take the exhaust manifold off. We can spin this thing. And the other thing that we're going to do today is we're going to cut this frame shorter. I wanted to wait to do that because I wanted the subframe in before I cut the frame, because then everything can go crazy when you cut out the supports. It's just a thin support, but it's still a support. So the rules state that once I remove this, I cannot re-weld it in. So my plan is to remove it as best as I can, slide it back, and then try to use as many factory holes as I can. And like down here, use these factory holes and try to re-bolt this thing in and see if that will work for tech this year. So my plan is to cut right down here. Actually, you know what? This side's a better example. I plan to remove this piece right here, cut this off. I might leave that actually, and then come right across the top and then down the other side and across the bottom, and then put my bumper on. Maybe leave the bumper on, slide this thing on to where I want it, and then go from there. So I'm going to start prepping the motor, and then once I get the motor to the point, maybe I'll take the front end off, because then that will make it so there's nothing in my way and I can bring my stools up. Yeah, let's get the front end off this. We're going to take these fenders back and kind of roll them out of the way so we can get at the tops of the fenders a little bit easier as well. So let's get going. So with the front end of this thing cut off now, we can kind of access stuff a lot easier. I'm going to trim this up a bit, but my plan is to slide that back in there and then just try to wire it in as best as I can. But while we have that off, we're going to pull the exhaust manifold off. Put a header on it just because of how easy it is to get. Fix up all these transmission lines, get rid of the factory shifter, maybe clean up some of the wiring, tuck some stuff, because I can basically hump the engine. So it's going to make working on it a lot easier. So let's do a little bit of dress up on this, and then we'll get right back to you guys here. Now that looks fancy. We've got it fitting pretty good inside of here. We can't weld this. We can't bolt it. All I can do is wire it. I could use 9-wire, but honestly, 9-wire won't get me around tightly to these bends. Last year I used a heavy gauge copper wire, and it was able to get tight enough where it actually, well, not last year, I guess it was 3 years ago, and it actually got tight enough to actually hold the rad cradle in, which I was really surprised with. What I use is this single strand solid copper. It's pretty, it doesn't really snap, it doesn't really pull apart, but it's malleable enough to be able to be pulled in those tight directions. So We're going to fold all these up and around up here just so that way it's not blatantly open like that. And then we're going to start wiring this thing in. I did get the transmission fittings on there. I'm going to leave them for now because I still have to change up some stuff and get some new lines and started building a new transmission cooler. I'm going to check the rules tonight. I think I'm allowed a transmission cooler. Don't mind about the red paint. The red paint is just because I couldn't find a marker, so I used the red paint to trace my holes. Used all the factory 10 mil hardware that comes inside Toyotas. And I just haven't decided where I want it yet. But I'm thinking I'm going to mount this up here like this. That's where I think I'm going to mount that. Yeah, maybe like that. Haven't really decided yet, but we'll see. Maybe get some pipe clamps and weld them to the back, and that way they can just go onto it and they can be easily removed. I don't know. We'll have to see. But we do have a shifter just sitting in it because I needed the shifter to set up. I needed the shifter in it to set up the bracket. So Gray Area never used to sell these brackets right here, and I really liked the Jeffy brackets. They were simple, they fit in there good, but unfortunately when you use the Gray Area shifter with the Jeffy bracket, you have to move all the holes up 1 inch, and then I just kind of trimmed it out because it was hitting these little strengthening aluminums on the side of the transmission. But then we have the Jeffy's bracket on here, and we have everything in here. So the shifter's all set up now. It's probably not fine-tuned enough right now for all my gears, but it's in there and the holes have been moved up 1 inch. So I'm pretty happy about that. And then we haven't even started messing with the brakes. I might pull this master off because this master here has got a main dump to an ABS pump. So I might see if I can just put a regular Camry master cylinder on that and get rid of the Avalon one. It is actually much larger. So we'll have to see about that. That's an easy swap. Or I could just throw a bolt in that tube there and stop the leaking from that. So maybe that's what I'll do. We'll have to see. But yeah, little things coming along. We got the motor grounded right here. We got the motor grounded right here. We're going to get the motor grounded on this side as well. We have to build the upper mount, which is easy. That's just a piece of pipe. We have to build a couple mounts down here, just pieces of pipe. The rules state that I have to use the factory mounting pieces. I can't build my own mountings to the engine, so I'm not really sure if I'm allowed to run my Zacks Workshop solid steel mount on the front of this or not. I'm going to put it on. If I'm allowed to run it, I'd be extravagant. If I am told to take it off, I'm told to take it off. But we will see, because you can only try. If they tell you to take it off, it's only, what, 3, 4, 7 bolts, 8 bolts. So yeah, I'll bring it with me. I'll bring this one with me just in case. And then we got to hook the map back up. We got to hook the booster cable, the brake booster back up. We got the alternator all lubricated, so now she slides. We got the header on. Still have to change out the coil packs. I'm probably going to go on Rock Auto tonight and order some new spark plugs for this. I'll probably order 20 or 24 spark plugs or something like that, just so I have a stockpile. We're going to do an oil change on it. Well, you know what? Actually, we're not. It's actually very clean oil, but we are going to be putting a lot more ATF into it. And then we got to start putting our cage into it, get that off the ground, which will be nice, get it up and into the car. But honestly, that is a crap ton of work that we've already done to this thing today. Pretty happy about that, though. The front of the car is starting to come together. I will be trying to buy a bumper probably one night this week on my way home from work. It's just going to be a piece of 2x6 square tubing. I personally like this 2x6 because I find it kind of I kind of like the 2x6 tubing because I find that it encases the front of the frame completely. So you're with 4x4, you're just kind of loading that little piece. But with 6x6, I find it spreads out the impact all the way from the bottom to the top of the frame. So yeah, this car is starting to come along. We have 4 weeks to get this thing ready, and it's not ready. But on one of the advantages, I don't really weld my doors, so that's going to save me quite a bit of time there, just seat belting these doors. So thanks for watching, everybody. We're going to get the front end a little bit farther here probably tonight, but I'm getting hungry, and the wife's cooking dinner. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you back here later on Zacks Workshop.